I will be performing One Special Brother by Ken Bradbury. When my little brother Jacob was 6 months old, my mother said she was going to write a book. She was going to call it 100 Things That Can Be Flushed Down a Toilet. Jacob loved pulling handles and watching things disappear. We'd be missing a credit card, or a wallet, or a goldfish, and we'd go, Jacob. And he'd just smile up at us and say, whoosh, whoosh. Jacob didn't have much of a vocabulary until he was 4 or 5 years old. So words were a big deal to him when he finally learned to talk. Words can do that. They can be a big deal. Here's how it happens. The nucleus of every cell has 23 sets of chromosomes, and there's this little rascal called chromosome 21. And if you have an extra pair of chromosome 21s, we call it Down syndrome. Not Downs, Down. One out of every 691 babies born in our country this year will have it. That's 6,000 a year, and Jacob is one of them. Jacob is probably the most, how do I put this, amazing thing that ever happened to our family. Just when we thought we had life all figured out, along came Jacob and our world kind of got turned upside down, or flushed away, whoosh, whoosh. It's funny. Mom was so worried about how to tell us that we were going to have a brother with a disability. She read tons of books on how to break it to the family without causing too much heartache. And here's the part we still laugh about today. My older brother said, lots of kids with disabilities have dogs to help them get around. Does this mean we can now get a dog? And I, being a lot younger, said, can we now park in handicapped spaces? Jacob has provided our family with a lot of laughs. When he started to go to school, he got in trouble, like a lot. Kids on the bus would tell him to do things, and he would do things. And not all these things were good. The bus driver would get mad, and then he'd tell the principal, and the principal would call Mom and Dad. They'd say, hey, Jacob, go kiss that girl. And he'd go up and kiss that girl. They'd say, hey, Jacob, call the bus driver stupid. He would get up out of his seat and go call the bus driver stupid. It's just words, but words can be a big deal. Oh, and I hate to bring this up. One of our biggest problems was to convince Jacob that wearing clothing was a good thing. If he didn't like what he was wearing, he'd just take it off. It didn't matter where we were at or what we were doing. You know what? I'll spare you the details. But Mom had a lot of explaining to do at shopping malls. And thank goodness the people at church were understanding. But the thing that got Jacob in the most trouble was his hugging. When he hugs someone, he wraps his arms around you and squeezes you so tight, you almost have to hold your breath until he lets go. A lot of the time we have to tell him to let go, especially if it's a stranger walking down the street. Did I mention that he's strong too? I'll have to shout, enough, Jacob, enough. He understands that. Words are a big deal to Jacob. And he's musical too. I mean, for a kid who can't carry a tune, he'll listen to a song he likes, and that's all we'll hear for hours, for days, sometimes for weeks. There's nothing like ruining a song than letting Jacob fall in love with it. Oh, and he's an addict. Ketchup. He's a ketchup addict. You name it, and my little brother will slather it with ketchup. It's actually opened up a whole new world of possibilities. I never would have thought to put ketchup on cereal or peanut butter, and if you haven't had ketchup-flavored ice cream, you just haven't lived. We don't let him do this at school or in restaurants because it kind of grosses people out, but at home, I just try to look the other way. When you have a little brother like Jacob, you sort of want to be with him all the time, to protect him. Of course, that's impossible, but you want to be there when kids make fun of him and call him names. And yes, he's cute, he's lovable, and he loves everybody, and he's still made fun of and called names. The worst was the night when he came home and said, hey, Dad, I'm a retard. We all just sat there. It wasn't something he read, and he probably didn't hear on the TV. Someone had called him that, and they thought it was pretty funny when he took up the name himself. Because you see, someday Jacob will know what the word means. I know what it does to my mom when she hears the word, and I can see the look on my dad's face when one of his friends casually calls someone else a retard. It hurts, okay? Some people even try defending saying the word. They say, well, back in my days, that's what we called it. Well, that was then, and this is now. Today it's offensive. Learn something. Grow up. It's really not that hard to imagine. Imagine your own child with a learning disability standing in the lunch line, minding his own business, and then the kid behind him says, hurry up, you retard. Is that okay just because your grandpa once used the word? Words hurt. Use the right ones. But some say, but the problem's called mental retardation, isn't it? No, in fact, it isn't. Oh, but I never call your brother that name. It doesn't matter. As long as you use the word, you spread the problem. You keep it going. So what word do you use instead? How about funny? Imagine being woken up in the middle of the night by your little brother in his underwear on your bed singing, Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. Want another one? Try determined. Tell Jacob that he can't put ketchup on the wafers at church. Here's one more. Sympathetic. When my little brother sees someone else cry, his own tears begin to flow. There are lots of other beautiful, amazing words to describe my brother. Loving, caring, curious, really curious, like extremely curious. One night, as I was tucking Jacob into bed, I said, Jacob, you're a handsome young man. Yes. What's that? I said, you're good looking. What's that? He said, you're a pretty boy. He closed his eyes and repeated to himself, I'm a pretty boy. And then the next day at school, he announced it to everyone that he was a pretty boy. He told his teachers, he told the janitors, he told the cafeteria ladies, he even told the drinking fountain. We often believe what we hear because words matter.